The Dungeon Master Experience. This regular column is for dungeon masters who like to build worlds and campaigns as much as I do. Here, I share my experiences as a DM through the lens of Iomandra, my Dungeons & Dragons campaign world. Even though the campaign uses the 4th edition rules, the topics covered here often transcend editions. Hopefully, this series of articles will give you inspiration, ideas, and awesome new ways to menace your players in your home campaigns. If you're interested in learning more about the world of Iomandra, check out the wiki. Dungeon Master for Life, Chris Perkins.
The Dastardly Duo. Wednesday night. The characters, now 15th level, have reached the midpoint of the campaign. To celebrate this achievement, I decided to involve them in something truly world-shaking. The time had come to give them a flavor of evil they've never tasted before. Enter Carl Mistrum and Demencia Zandros. Carl and Demencia have 3 qualities that make them stand out. First, like all truly evil villains, they believe that their actions are justified. Second, they're incredibly lucky. And third, like 2 sides of a coin, they can't really exist without one another. If the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series, not the loathsome movie, taught me anything, it's that 2 villains are better than 1. It was proven in Season 2 with the vampires Spike and Drusilla, reaffirmed in Season 3 by Mayor Wilkins and Faith, and then sorely missed in subsequent seasons. If you want to make the case for the brilliant pairing of Rutger Hauer and Paul Rubens in the Buffy movie, knock yourself out, preferably with a sledgehammer. Like Spike and Drew, the dastardly duo in my Wednesday night campaign are lovers, which mostly serves as a plot device to explain why they're together, but also gives their relationship an added layer of realism and complexity, particularly when the cracks start to form. They're both human, born into noble families suffering under the tyranny of the Dragonborn-dominated empire that rules most of Iomandra. Determined to shatter the imperial hold over the regency, Carl and Demencia have stolen their parents' fortunes to spend on a massive elemental citadel held aloft by a 1,000-foot cyclone of water. Once they've obtained the citadel, Carl and Demencia plan to wipe out the imperial fleet at Iocalioth and run roughshod over the island city. It might seem crazy in your campaign, but it fits perfectly into mine. It's very easy to hate a pair of spoiled rich kids who want to trade their silver spoons for platinum and blow obscene amounts of money because they feel trodden upon. The heroes first become involved with them when they attend a secret auction of elemental weaponry. The last item up for grabs is the elemental citadel. It's here when the heroes meet Demencia, who seems pretty harmless and out of her league, until she bids 25 million gold pieces on the citadel in question. At that time, it's not clear what her intentions are. The players are initially led to believe she's representing her father, a powerful baron with a sterling reputation. At the conclusion of the auction, Demencia is more than happy to offer the heroes a tour of her citadel, convinced that they share her disdain for the Empire. However, it soon becomes clear that her intentions are far from noble. When the heroes try to wrest the crown from her, she crashed the citadel into the sea using a talisman obtained earlier in the campaign. The heroes travel back in time, effectively escaping a TPK. Time travel. A fun, if tricky plot device that I hope to discuss in a future article. The heroes get a second shot, but instead of turning on Demencia, they remain aboard the citadel and wait for an opportunity to betray her. Before the heroes can act against Demencia a second time, Carl appears. That's when the heroes realize they're facing 2 villains, not 1. The added complication is that Carl is not alone. He's joined by a flight of mercenary dragons bribed into defending the citadel. What to do? The heroes first try to play the 2 lovers against one another. When that fails, they try to convince the dragon mercenaries to betray the lovers, and very nearly succeed. When Carl finally becomes aware of their scheme, the battle's joined. As the citadel cuts a swath of destruction through Iocalioth's harbor, Carl and Demencia hold out for as long as possible before making their escape. What makes Carl and Demencia especially memorable, apart from their countless flaws, is their longevity. Since the first fateful meeting, they've crossed paths with the heroes on 3 more occasions. Weakened and wounded from their ordeal aboard the Citadel, Carl and Demencia are captured by agents of the Dragovar Empire. The heroes feel sorry enough for the lovers to extricate them from their predicament. Once out of harm's way, Carl and Demencia betray the heroes and nearly get them killed before escaping once again. The heroes learn that the Dragomar Empire has posted a 2 million gold piece bounty for the capture of Karl and Nemesia. The heroes finally catch them aboard Karl's ship, but when the vessel is overran by Githyanki pirates, the heroes are forced to surrender the lovers to save their own skins. After their vessel is destroyed by a far-realm mine, the heroes seek another time travel talisman to undo the sequence of events that caused their ship's destruction. They discover a Drow NPC who has what they need, and also learn that the Drow is conducting secret business with Githyanki pirates. Once they learn that the pirates have released Karl and Nemesia into the Drow's custody, the vindictive and somewhat more jaded heroes hunt down and kill the two lovers out of spite, forcing the Drow to use the time travel talisman to undo the event. When they try again, the heroes discover that Karl and Nemesia have been spirited away, and the talisman's power has been spent. The heroes' fleeting victory turns to bitter irony, as their thirst for vengeance has cost them the very item they sought. Lessons learned. The saga of Karl and Nemesia isn't something I planned from the get-go. I fully expected them to be dead by now. Everything that's happened so far is the result of hundreds of decisions and dice rolls, combined with calculated efforts on my part to have them resurface in unexpected ways. They've become the archetypal two-headed villain of my Wednesday night campaign. At some point, I'll share with you another villainous archetype that's become the bane of my Monday night group, but that's another story. The theme of the Dastardly duo appears frequently in literature, film, and TV. Partnered villains are better than singular villains for so many reasons. They act as mirrors for one another. They can be turned against one another, and they remind the players that villains also have relationships that can be explored and exploited. Perhaps most importantly, if one of them dies, the other can carry the torch. Karl and Nemesia have taught me 3 other important lessons worth mentioning here. The best villains are like the heroes. They don't know everything. They make mistakes, and they have a knack for turning disadvantage into advantage. The best villains are the ones the players can interact with. If you want to keep your villains from getting killed, try to make them more valuable alive than dead, or make the consequences of their deaths severe and readily apparent. Regarding the second point, there's inherent risk that comes with giving heroes face time with your carefully crafted villains. More often than not, the villains will perish before achieving any true level of infamy. But for every 19 that die before their time, there will be the 20th villain in whom the gods show favor. The villains, or Dastardly duo, that survives long enough to make the heroes' lives truly miserable. Regarding the third point, imagine what would happen if my players suddenly learned that Karl and Nemesia had become heroes for the people, symbols of unity among humans fighting for independence against the ruthless Dragomar Empire. What would happen, I wonder, if the heroes murdered them in cold blood? Until the next encounter. Dungeon Master for Life, Chris Perkins.
I want to thank all of you who have made it to the end of this video. This reading comes from Chris Perkins' Dungeon Magazine series, The Dungeon Master Experience, in which Chris gives excerpts of wisdom and lessons he's learned from many years of running games. If you're interested in reading it for yourself, you can find a link down in the description along with links to where you can find the music used in this video, which is a product of Critical Role's Scanlan Shorthalt Press.